Hey guys, welcome back. Like the title says, I'm going to be building, well, this is going to be video one of me trying to build a truck camper. If you want to get straight to the build, you can skip to this time here. But before that, I'm going to do quite a bit of ranting and talking. So if you want to stick around for that, you can. Otherwise, if you want to get straight to the build, you can just jump to that time. So I went winter camping for the first time, did a ski trip with my current setup, which is just the topper and the awning. I bought a diesel heater and put a plexiglass window go in place of one of the glass windows on the topper, so it had a port in it for the diesel heater. And then I planned on opening the awning up, putting the tent walls up like I do in the summer with my current setup, and trying to use that for like a warm room. And what ended up happening is it was too windy and I couldn't anchor down the awning, so the tent walls were just blowing all over, so we didn't get to use it. So the whole time I was up there, it was cold. It was below freezing. I think the high was like 16 degrees one day, but it got down to -1. It was my first time winter camping. I wasn't prepared for it. All my liquids that I bought were obviously freezing, so I had to put them in the truck with me to keep them warm during the night. So it was basically my bed in the truck, and then everything next to me was all of our beverages for the weekend, all the water, soda, beer, all that. And it just made for a very cramped experience, even cooking outside. Like we made pancakes one day and I mixed up the batter. I poured a couple pancakes out, made those, went to pour another couple, and the batter and whisk and bowls all froze together. It was just kind of a rougher experience than I thought. So I figured, I like doing this. I like the camping thing, so why not try and build a truck camper topper. Some other reasons are, when I started this, I asked my wife, hey, are you into this? Do you want me to make this setup, my current setup, so that she could sleep in it too? She said, no, I like tent camping, you can do your thing. And then I went on a couple trips and she says, oh, I like this, I want to do this with you. And it's not big enough for the both of us. So I think building something a little bigger so we both can do it, maybe even enough to get our dogs in there with us. She would really like that. So that's another reason. With that being said, I took woods 1 through 3 in high school, and that was a very long time ago, and I haven't done intricate woodwork like that since. I've done repairs on my house and stuff, but that's just 2x4s or 2x6s here and there as needed. This is going to be a little different, a little more intricate. It's probably going to be one of the longest term projects I've ever done. And one of the YouTube videos that I'm using as guidance is Endgame Campers. He's made about 10 now, and I really like what he does with it. Specifically, his number 7 is what I kind of want to go for my dimensions, but I want to use the building methods that he used in 9.0 because he refined it quite a bit and got the weight down. In a lot of his videos, he says, hey, these aren't instructionals, these are just inspirations. So I'm using the inspiration from 7 and 9, and I'm going to hopefully try and make one that meets somewhere in the middle. He's got a great channel. Check it out. I believe it's Endgame Campers. I'll put it in the description or something in there to give him some credit. So basically what he does is, instead of doing 2x4s or 1x1s or 2x2s, he takes fence posts, cedar fence posts, takes them from 5/8, planes them down to 1/2 inch, and then sandwiches 3 of them together. So you have a 1.5 inch by 1.5 inch, and that's what he uses for his skeleton of it basically. And then adds pink insulation foam in to make it more structurally sound. Well, I did a couple test pieces already, so this is what I'm talking about. You take 1/2 inch, stack 3 of them, and it makes a nice square piece. And then what we're going to be doing is a mortise and tenon style joint here. Slot the next piece of wood in here, glue it and screw it, and build a frame out of that. Now, like I said, I haven't done woodworking in a very long time, and what I bought, it was stored outside and it was wet, and I just started working with it right away. So these pieces I'm probably not going to use because a lot of the glue didn't hold because of the moisture, but I have some stuff just off camera over here drying out. It's been drying out for a couple weeks, and I think it's getting pretty close to the point I can work with it. So I'm going to start recording that process and go from there with the video. Another thing I did is I got a table saw for the project. Super stoked about that. I had an ancient old Craftsman table saw with bolt-on fences and a non-portable base, and I had it in the back room of my garage. So I had to haul that thing out, and it was wall to wall in the back room because it's a real skinny storage area I have. It sucked. So I gave that away this summer, and I finally got a nice DeWalt job site table saw, and I'm really excited to use that. That being said, let's get to the build. I can see these still aren't ready after playing in a bit. I kept it a little over 1/2 inch because they're probably going to shrink and warp as they dry, but they all look pretty uniform as I sent them through the first time. But as you can see here, like this one's nice, dry, light. This one right next to it, it seems like it's still more water than wood. It's heavy, it's wet, you can tell. So I gotta postpone this, let these things dry out before I keep going, or else the glue's never gonna stick. It's not gonna work. So I'll see you guys in a second, which could be days, weeks, months later when these finally dry out. And I'm gonna get these outside while the sun is still out. It's our first warm day here. It finally hit over 50, so gotta take advantage of it. On a side note, just taking a 1/16 off each side, that's a lot of shavings. Here's the floor portion. Everything is assembled except the bottom row and supports. I'm gonna go dry fit it in the truck to make sure everything fits. And if we're good, then I'm gonna glue it together. And here's what it looks like. Fits good. It's a tight fit except on the sides. I feel like I could have went a little bit wider here between the wheel wells. But it does have the plastic bed liner, which isn't exactly flat and form-fitting in all the places, so I did try to give a little bit of clearance everywhere. And then there's this lip here where the ridges come down, so I might have to shim that just so there's not weight always pushing down on here. But all I gotta do is fit a 1/4 inch out from here and up for the walls. I have it pulled out from the back there. It should be good to go. I had the floor done, and I have the first set of vertical pieces made. I don't have them glued or screwed in yet. I just wanted to dry fit it, make sure it looked all right, and kind of get an idea of where I'm going next. I do believe next I'm going to work on the next horizontal wings. I want to measure it to see how far in and out I want them both to come and where. This is going to be the doorway here, these 2 extra tall ones. So this would be the front of the truck bed, this would be the rear, so you'd walk in through here. And yeah, it's nice to finally get it vertical somewhat. But after I get my measurements and figure out where I want these to be, I'm going to go ahead and glue and screw these down. Another thing, just for reference, I wasn't sure how much wood this was going to take. So this is about 16 cedar fence posts. I have about 4 left over. I bought 20. And then here's the last 4. So I get 3 pieces of these off of 1 board. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4 left, maybe 5 if you include this, but these are all, like, see how bowed that one is and knotty, so I'm just not going to use that. And the rest of these are bowed pretty bad, so I'm not going to use those either. So I did some measuring and I found out how wide I want everything to be. I'm going to do a total overall width of 79.5 with 1/4 inch sides, so it's going to be 79 inches without the siding on. So I made up a couple of these test pieces, and what they're going to do is slide onto here, and then they'll get glued and screwed, and then we'll put the sheeting here, and then make the composite structure on top of this when I get all of them. So these ones will stick out about 15 inches, and then where it gets wider over here, they'll stick out about 10 inches. But there's only going to be a couple that are like this that'll be hanging freely, because the back ones are going to connect to the door frame, the front ones are going to connect to the center post, and I may connect them on this one too and make a little shelf area right here. I haven't decided yet, but having that extra support tying them together would definitely be beneficial. It's just a balance of how much space I have. I only have 5.5 feet to work with. Do I really want to cut off another 7 inches of usable space? But it could always be used as storage or something under here. I don't know. I'm thinking this up as I go. You can see I've got my water container set there just to kind of help visualize it, so that fits nice. If I do end up using a sink or anything, I'm gonna need water either way, so the water container will be good there. And then the other thing I was measuring up is I want to put my cooler here, and it will make it, it'll just barely fit, but I didn't know if I was gonna leave this open like this kind of joint, or if I was gonna do another post here and have it tie in, since this will be pretty much a whole table space anyways, whereas it will come in and be thinner here. Now what I should have did is plan this out ahead of time and have a square cut out in the middle joint here so I could just slot one in, but I didn't, so I'm gonna have to work around it. But honestly, I don't even know where I'm gonna put that 4th leg yet. I don't know if I'm gonna match it up right to the door or move it in, but we'll figure that out later. Okay, so anyways, what I was getting at is I have 2 squares, and what I'm gonna go through now is glue and screw these as square as I can get them. I only have the 2 large squares and 1 smaller one, so this might take a while, a couple of days even, because I don't want to just put it on there and then take them off and hope it stays right there. I kind of want to clamp these to it and make sure it stays square, and then do that for all of them. I've been really procrastinating on this part because this is like the first part of permanently messing with the structure. You know, if I messed up the floor, I could always redo a piece of the floor, but if I get one of these wrong, it's kind of going to mess everything up and it's going to be a pain in the ass to fix. So I really want to make sure I get it done right the first time. With that being said, let's get to it. And here's my idea of what I got going on. We got it squared up and clamped there. And squared up and clamped on the other side. Just sit and let that dry. And hopefully it holds. Yee! So far I have 1, 2, 3, and the 4th one is glued down and drying. Unfortunately, I still have to work on cars in here, so I need to move this project over there. To do that, I'm gonna put my inflatable hot tub away for the winter, get rid of the snowblower, and clean everything else up around that. So I'm just gonna clean the garage up for a bit. Here, I know what we can do. We can try one of these. What the fuck? Well, that didn't work. All right, that's better. There we go. Got the hot tub cleaned up. We got our structure moved over here. The side job is done. Reggie's inspecting his ball. Looks like everything's okay. I have the 7th. I have the 8th one glued right now. I'm gonna move on to the 9th. Out of 13th, we are making progress. It was 77 degrees this weekend. I wake up on Sunday to 6 inches of snow. Thanks, Wisconsin. Anyways, we got the last of our verticals glued down. Everything's pretty square. The next step is cutting the 1/4-inch ply for our floor. So we got the table saw set up. Let's get to it. I was excited to use the table saw, but I think this first cut should be done with the circular saw. It's a little bit wobbly with a 1/4-inch. There we go. Just gotta hit it with the PL3 and some screws, get the side wings cut out, and we'll have a floor. The floor is done being glued and screwed. Moving right along, I have the first horizontal wing piece laid. I'm using my 2 squares, so I ran out and got a couple more just to speed this process up. I can hopefully keep leapfrogging down the line and get this done pretty quickly. The wing skeletal structure is all set. It went a lot quicker having multiple squares. Now I'm going to start cutting and gluing these skins on for the tub. Cut to a few days later, making progress. I got the sides on. I'm not recording the work in progress because it's pretty boring. It's a lot of cut, measure again, cut again, just to get everything to fit nice and tight. The next thing I'm gonna work on is the lower part of the wings. It's pretty stable, but it is kind of wobbly still. So I'm guessing the more structure we add, the better it'll get, but I'm hoping it stiffens up here quite a bit. Yeah, that's about it. I'm pretty happy with how it came out. Oh, another thing. I got the wrong plywood. This is BCX. It's an exterior grade plywood, but I think since I'm going to be doing this in Duraback, I don't need that because it's going to be covered. But this is the tub anyways, so it'll be in the truck. You won't see that. So I'm going to switch over to a white birch plywood for the rest of it. But that'll be after I get the vertical pieces all made and stuff. I got a ways to go on that. So yeah, progress being made little by little. Well, that was a terrible first experience with wood filler. It feels and smells just like Bondo, regular car filler. But I did what? Did like 10 holes and it hardened up on me. They say work quickly, you got 10 minutes. But holy crap, I think I gotta use less hardener. That was way too quick. What a waste of product. Whoops! Ah, I did not think that would work. It worked beautifully. I bought a hot knife and everything. I bought a foam melting knife just for this. Table saw works just fine. Whew. That was really satisfying. Now hopefully I should be able to walk on it with the foam in there without me falling through it. Let's see how it goes. First step's not on the beams in here. Oh! I heard a little crack. Call it a success. Here is the tub. It's almost completed. I decided to add an extra piece of bracing here because I'm really nervous about it splitting outwards. I know once I get it boxed in, it should be okay, but I figured the more the merrier. It'll also act as, you know, if I do a seat here and a seat there, maybe an armrest or a cup holder, and then a nice step to get up into the cab over. So I'm gonna weigh the tub. I weigh 200 pounds exactly, which is very nice. 200 exactly. I don't know if you can see it from there, but you have to trust me. So now I'm gonna try and lift this up and see how much it weighs. And remember, this is only a 5.5 foot bed. I'm not really tall. I'm actually short, and this is for 5.5 feet. So I'm gonna try and balance it on my head and look down here. 290.6. So this is 90, we'll just round it up, 91 pounds. So that's heavier than I thought it would be. I know when Endgame, the guy who I'm following, did his 7.0, it was 133 pounds. And when he did his 9.0, I think he was down to like 60 or 70 pounds. I used building inspiration from both of those builds. So I'd like to say it's heavier, dutier than the 9, but less so than the 7. But also he's doing it on a 6.5 foot bed. So he gets another foot out of this, and he somehow shaved 30 pounds off his newest one. So good on him. I've been recording so much, I think this is gonna be where I call it for video 1. Thanks for watching. This isn't a heavy 90, this is a light 90. Like I thought I would have hit that 60, 70 pound mark, and I just didn't. I can't believe it's 90 pounds, it doesn't feel that way. That's not 90 pounds, that scale is wrong.